Hello YouTube, how you all doing? EviEd here, back again with another rankings video. Now this one's a little bit different to the last one. Last one was Dark Souls 3, this time we are doing my top 10 Pokemon of Generation 1. Now to give you a little bit of history of my experience with the Pokemon games, I've played every single generation apart from Generation 2. I don't know what it was about Generation 2, it just never really grasped me. You know, I tried to get into Heart Gold and Soul Silver, but they couldn't really entice me enough. I don't know what it was about it. I think it just was the Pokemon in general. You know, Generation 2 is quite a small generation in terms of new mons, and for me it didn't grab me as much as the other generations. Now, my first ever Pokemon game was Pokemon Fire Red. I was a little bit late when it came to playing Pokemon, so I didn't play the really early on ones, like, you know, like Red or Silver or any of that. But my first one was Fire Red, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Now, after that, I played Pokemon Pearl, and from then onwards I just kept going in that generation. I've been playing them ever since, and I absolutely love them. However, as is with every game you play, you get some favourites, especially in a game like this. Now, this list is purely opinion based. Okay, it's not based on stats, it's not based purely on appearance, it's just based on my own opinion and why they are my favourites. Okay, so without further ado, let's jump right in with number 10. So number 10, we have Arcanine. Arcanine is one of those Pokemon, you see it and you think, wow, that is a powerful Pokemon. It's a beautiful dog, fire type, extremely quick, and I mean its stats are nothing to sleep on at all. You know, it's got base attack 110, which is pretty impressive, nothing below 80 in terms of base stats. And just its move pool as well, it can learn, what can it learn? It can learn close combat, it can learn fire blitz, extreme speed. I mean, it's just great. Now, generally speaking, of course, by level up, it doesn't learn moves very quickly, and it doesn't learn too many of them. But that's okay, that's fine, because it has such a large number of TMs that can be taught to it, which makes it a great contestant for my top 10. Moving on, number 9, Scyther. Scyther is one of those Pokemon which I saw it and instantly I thought, wow, this is a cool Pokemon. Generally speaking, it's not the best, you know, it's just really cool when you look at it. Bug, flying, but not like the standard bug flying ones, you know, and it's not like the standard small insect ones you get. No, this one is so different, and it's just vicious. You look at it, it's the kind of Pokemon, you know, it gets you, that's it, you're gone. Once again, a great base attack of 110, which is, you know, considering now it has an evolution, is not bad at all. And I have to say, I absolutely love Scyther, which is why it is my number 9 choice. Now, number 8. At number 8, we have Zapdos, my only legendary on this list. You know, don't get me wrong, I like Mewtwo, okay? I do. I like Mew. But for me, they weren't, I didn't see them and go, oh, that is so cool. But I saw Zapdos, and instantly I was like, wow, look at this, an electric bird. An electric bird. You don't see that often. Now, obviously, there's Moltres, Articuno, both very cool, but could never match up to Zapdos, in my opinion. This arguably is more of a nostalgia, I think, because, as I said, I saw it and I loved it. You know, the funny thing is, a lot of Pokemon on this list are actually down to nostalgia more than anything, I think. Because, generally speaking, Gen 1 Pokemon now aren't amazing. They're not. But, you know, Zapdos with a 125 special attack is still very impressive. Hence why he is number 8 on my list. Number 7. At number 7 we have Tentacruel. This is without a doubt a nostalgia one. This was one of the first Pokemon I ever saw. And this was before I started playing the game. I believe I was actually watching one random episode of the anime. I couldn't tell you which one. And I saw a Tentacruel come up from the ocean. And it was powerful. It was just so impressive. You look at it, you think, my god, this is cool. And it is. It's an incredibly cool Pokemon. You know, water, poison. Brilliant typing. Brilliant typing. Generally speaking, of course, as I said, its stats are nothing too impressive. In fact, its greatest stat, I believe, is special defense at a base 120, which isn't bad at all, but then you look at its other stats, it's not so good. Once again, this Pokemon was not picked because it's great, it was picked because I love it. Now, at number 6, we have arguably one of the most beautiful Pokemon from 1st gen to 6th gen, and I still stand by that. We have Ninetales. Just look at it. Just look at this Pokemon. You cannot sit there and tell me that this Pokemon is not gorgeous. Gorgeous! I mean, if you think it's impressive now, you see its shiny sprite and you just fall more in love with it. I cannot tell you how much I love this Pokemon, purely, and I'm not going to lie, purely because of appearance. I think it looks amazing. And it's the kind of Pokemon I love to use for contests just because it looks fantastic. And I'm not a big contest goer, I'm not. But Ninetales I will take to a contest because it looks amazing and it deserves a contest. Naturally, of course, any Ninetales I get, I call Kurama, for obvious reasons, but I know that's not exactly new, but I don't care. I don't care. It suits it, the name suits it, and it is a beautiful Pokemon. Number 5. Now this one might come as a bit of a shock to people because I know this is a lot of people's favourites from this generation, including the King Nappy, a very popular Poketuber. Now, Gengar he's so impressive. Gengar is so impressive. He is just amazing. Like, nothing can be taken away from him. He was the first ghost type. Obviously Ghastly was the first ghost type, but he evolves into Gengar, therefore making Gengar the first ghost type as well. He was the first ghost type to come along. And he was amazing. Anyone who says they do not like Gengar, I guarantee you, is lying to you. It has an incredible base 170 special attack. That is incredible. Incredible. It looks amazing. The colour purple, I mean, who doesn't love purple? Purple's a great colour. And it is the first Pokemon on this list that has a Mega Evolution, which makes it look even more impressive. Even more impressive. If that's possible. Mega Gengar is amazing. Gengar is amazing. Hence why it is number 5 on this list. Number 4. Charizard. Now, once again, I think this is another surprise, because I would say, other than Pikachu, Charizard is arguably the mascot of Pokemon. If someone asked someone who's never played Pokemon, never played it, if someone asked them to name 2 Pokemon, I guarantee you they will say Pikachu, Charizard. Charizard is just so well known. And it, for good reason. Fire, flying, it looks like the perfect dragon, which is ironic because it's not a dragon, which I think a lot of people do forget. And hence the reason, of course, it got not 1, but 2 Mega Evolutions, Charizard X and Charizard Y. Charizard X going into the dragon route, Charizard Y going more into the fire flying route. Now my personal favourite is actually, against popular opinion, Charizard Y. Don't get me wrong, Charizard X is so amazing. But Charizard Y to me just looks more impressive, in my opinion. I think it's for me mostly it's the way the wings are, which sounds bizarre. But the way the wings are in Charizard Y are just huge and so imposing that anyone who sees it is like, oh crap, what have I got myself into? Charizard Y is just amazing. Charizard X, of course, is amazing. And Charizard in general is great. Special attack, base, 159, that's its highest base. And being the only starter, in my opinion, that I would pick from this generation. Don't get me wrong, I like Blastoise, I like Venusaur. Charizard is just above them, in my opinion. Number 3. Kabutops. I know, another very unusual one. Now there were 3 fossils from Generation 1. There was Aerodactyl, Omastar, well, technically Omanite, and Kabutops, which was Kabuto. And I think a lot of people would say Aerodactyl was their favourite fossil, but for me it had to be Kabutops. I have a thing about the Scythe arms. Okay, you'll notice Scyther had it, and now Kabutops has it. I see a Pokemon with that, and instantly I love it. It's something about the blade shape of it. I love it. Kabutops is just such an impressive looking Pokemon. Being rock and water as well is such an unusual typing. It's not something you often see. Now, its stats are not the best. You know, they're not. Its highest is base attack 115. But Kabutops itself is just such a cool looking Pokemon. And on top of that, it's got a good move pool. It's got a good move pool. You wouldn't think it, but it does. It has access to grass moves, fighting moves, psychic moves, dark moves, bug moves. It's incredible, and I absolutely love this Pokemon. I cannot explain enough. When I first saw a Kabuto evolve into Kabutops, I instantly fell in love. I was like, wow, this is so cool. And that's why it's number 3. Number 2, Alakazam. Alakazam. Now, this was arguably, and still is, one of the best psychic type Pokemon out there. It is incredibly frail, that cannot be forgotten. Its base defense is 45. Base special defense is 95, and its base HP is 55. It is not there to last, it is there to kill. Its base special attack is 135, which is amazing. Amazing. And it was there to fight Gengar, essentially. Well, no, that's a lie. Gengar was there to fight Alakazam, but Alakazam is the type of Pokemon that can fight back. It has also got a Mega Evolution, of course, and it just makes the Pokemon look so wise when it evolves. It has 5 spoons floating above it. Alakazam has a thing with spoons. He had it since he was a Kadabra, he has it now as a Mega. 5 spoons floating above him. He looks like a wise sage who you would go to on the top of a mountaintop to ask for advice. Alakazam is just such an amazing Pokemon and an amazing design, hence why it is number 2. Right, so this is it. Number 1. Number 1 of Generation 1 of Pokemon. Which one could it be? Well, sitting at number 1 is the only Nidoking. And I know this is a once again, I think against popular belief. I don't think it's a lot of people's favourites, but for me it goes back to, I think I was about 8 years old, and I was playing on the GameCube, and I think it was Pokemon Colosseum, and I saw a Nidorino, and I looked at it and I thought, wow, look at that. That's such a cool design. That's like my favourite of the designs. And I love Nidorino, absolutely loved it. And then it did one better and evolved into the king, Nidoking. And now this Pokemon is just so impressive. So impressive. I love everything about it. The colour, the design. Now its stats aren't amazing. They're not. Okay? Highest is 102 in attack. But I do not like this Pokemon because of its stats. I like this Pokemon in spite of its stats. I love this Pokemon. Its design is incredible. You look at it and it's just so powerful. It's a king. It is a king. It's royalty. And I myself, every Nidoking I get from now on, I am calling Carnage. Because that is what I do when I get this Nidoking. When I have a Nidoking and I give it the right moveset, and its move pool is incredible. Okay? Yes, leveling up, it doesn't have a great deal, but it can learn Dark, it can learn Fire, it can learn Ice, Electric, Fighting, Ghost, Normal, Ground, Rock. It can learn so many different types of moves. It can learn Surf. I mean, come on, it's Ground Poison, and it can learn Surf. Nidoking is amazing, and I absolutely love it, and that is why he is number 1 my Generation 1 Pokemon list. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this little top 10 ranking session for Generation 1 of Pokemon. I do intend to be bringing you all the future generations as well. I hope you've enjoyed this. If you have, please like, comment, subscribe, share. Get it out to as many people as you can. I would love to hear your guys' opinion as well. Which is your favourite Pokemon? in Generation 1? Which is your top, or even your top 10 list? Please comment, let me know. Alright guys, thank you very much. I've been Ebby Ed, and I'll see you for the next ranking video. Bye!